Good morning and welcome to G'day Bitcoin, your home of the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. Old banks have made you FOMO with Bitcoin. This is huge. The orange man is back. Trump is on a mission to destroy the extreme left and Bitcoin may just be his tool. In fact, Bitcoin may be the determining factor for the upcoming elections. On the other hand, Naval Harari from the WEF does not like Bitcoin. We've got a ripper video to dive into today. Bitcoin is down on the day, so was Coinbase yesterday. We will dive into the Rothschilds. They're buying Bitcoin. One of the most powerful families in the world has woken up to digital sound money, freedom technology. Digital IDs, on the other hand, are here in Australia, and the Australian budget is released last night. We've got a few topics to cover there, and the most powerful institutions in the world are stacking sats. Let's dive straight into the orange man, Trump.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates. They rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election. Even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
Let's be fair, Trump is still a politician, so whatever comes out of his mouth may not be 100% true, but hey, at least it's a good start. We've got a couple more things. This video has gone viral. It's a little bit of an old one, but this, at the moment, is the public persona of Trump. Very pro of Bitcoin. If you can like and share the video, let's dive into the words, and then we'll dive into the left-leaning political party in a sec. We've got the WEF coming up as well. There's so much to cover.
A lot of the smartest people in crypto are moving their businesses out of the U.S.
Because of the hostility.
Correct.
Yeah, crypto is moving out of the U.S. because of hostility toward crypto.
Correct. So what are you going to do to stop it?
If we're going to embrace it, we have to let them be here.
Yes, sir.
Biden doesn't even know what it is. If you ask Biden, sir, are you for or against crypto? What's that? What the? Get me off the stage. The Democrats are very much against it. And I say this, a lot of people are very much for it, probably a lot of the people in this group, and I'm fine with it. I want to make sure it's good and solid and everything else, but I'm good with it.
I'm not really sure what good and solid means, but for Bitcoin to be on the political stage, on the world stage, is absolutely massive. Now, I found this pretty interesting. And Bitcoin Magazine have been a disappointment, and this is also a bit of a disappointment, but it's pretty interesting that they are working alongside Trump. Just in, Bitcoin Magazine CEO David Bailey has been working with Donald Trump's campaign to develop their Bitcoin and crypto policy agenda. It's time for a pro-Bitcoin president. We'll see. But on the other hand, let's dive into the left here. And ultimately, it's neither red or blue. It is just Bitcoin and you. We've got this freedom technology, number go up technology. But let's see what the other side has to say. It's not related, but I don't think anything at the moment is related that President Joe Biden speaks. Is that blasphemy? Maybe. Let's hear what he has to say.
My name's Joe Biden. I work for Kamala Harris. I asked her to be my vice president because I knew I needed somebody smarter than me.
How interesting, hey? So the president of the US currently, if you are there, admits that he is not the person in power, Kamala Harris's. It's pretty intriguing. Now, yesterday, Coinbase did report system-wide outage. They do ensure your funds are safe. If you still have Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, not even Satoshi himself can help you anymore. This is an urgent call. Please get that Bitcoin off the exchange today. Yesterday, bought Bitcoin, put it in self-custody, did some UTXO management. I urge you, please, to do the same. Super easy, and this generational wealth that you're dealing with. Obviously, we're going to dive into the budget in a sec. I thought everyone would be pleased to hear the Australian Federal Court refuses to extend the content ban request from the e-safety commissioner. This is the global war that Elon Musk had with the Australian Prime Minister, ScoMo.
Well, this is a bloke who's chosen ego and showing violence.
This is great.
Over common sense. This billionaire is prepared to go to court fighting for the right to sow division and to show violent videos. And what has occurred here is that the e-safety commissioner has made very sensible suggestions, but this bloke thinks he's above the Australian law, that he's above.
I think maybe just in general, Elon Musk does not agree with totalitarianism. And that's the reason that he stood up. He's happy to take it down here in Australia. But why should the Australian government dictate to a global corporation what they can show around the world? Absolutely sick.
Above common decency, that he is so out of touch with what the Australian public
Thank you, Mr.
wants.
PM.
A federal court judge has denied the e-safety commissioner's request to
Let's get
extend
it.
an injunction
Let's go.
on video footage of last month's Wakely stabbing attack. The platform's owner, Elon Musk, has lashed out at Australian authorities over the order to hide the tweets globally.
Go fuck yourself.
Sorry about the swearing. It's not Friday. I get it. You can put it down to me being a little bit under the weather, a little bit of a slip up, but Elon Musk said it best to Bill. Now, Gemini is asking users to explain their activity for simply buying Bitcoin and withdrawing it. Hi there. A review of your recent account activity showed regular deposits are feared in a one-way trading pattern where you deposit funds, convert it to digital currency, and then withdraw. Can you please explain the following? Number one, please describe the purpose of your recent transfers. Number two, identify how you are currently storing your crypto assets. Number three, describe the source of funds. Well done, Gemini. They are committed to providing a safe and secure platform for its customers, and your answers to the above questions will support us in that mission. We appreciate your interest in Gemini, and thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Onward and upwards is what they say. People are getting their Bitcoin off the exchange. People are doing the right thing, protecting that generational wealth. Please get your Bitcoin off the exchange today. It is absolutely urgent. Now, in regards to the US as well, billionaire Mark Cuban says anti-crypto stance could cost Biden the presidency. Is this a single vote, a single issue of vote? Potentially. Now, in Australia, the budget got released last night, and I know this won't apply so much to the international audience, but I ask you to have a little bit of compassion here, because we've got 21 taxes in Australia, a list of the taxes: income tax, stamp duty, capital gains, land tax, council rates, luxury car tax, payroll tax, fuel excise, alcohol excise, goods and service tax, which is GST, Medicare levy, car registration, exit tax, driver's license, boat registration, pet registrations, fringe benefit tax, corporate tax, superannuation guarantee tax, and temporary jab tax, which was in the state of Victoria. We're obviously there last week and they are broke. We are going to dive into the budget in a sec, but before, I want a huge shout out to today's sponsor, the Bitcoin Way. These guys are absolutely amazing. I'm so chuffed that I get to share them with you. They've helped me out a lot protecting my Bitcoin stack, put it in self-custody. Before I started working with the Bitcoin Way personally, I had keys in 3 countries and I thought I was doing the right thing. I really thought I'd secured, I'd locked it down. the Bitcoin Way have helped me secure that stack, put it in deep cold storage. Nobody's getting to it ever. It is safe. It is protected. They can help you master your Bitcoin self-custody. They've got 25 years experience. They can help you learn about air-gap wallets, which is obviously the safest place for your Bitcoin. I think I have one right here because I was doing a little bit of UTXO management yesterday. If you know, you know. No S coins inside, no Kaka coins. Anyway, air gaps is the way to do it and run your own node and be completely sovereign. Be your own bank. Reach out to the Bitcoin Way. The first 30 minutes is free. Every single person that's gone through has gained immense value. They will tailor make it to your situation. And parallel, read the books or eat the bugs. The Bitcoin Social Layer. This book I read in 24 and a half hours. The offer still stands. If you can read in less time and you can verify, we'll send you 10,000 Satoshis. How to prove it? I don't know. Be creative, but it's an absolutely epic book anyway, and it talks about the Bitcoin social layer, using Bitcoin as a currency, as the world's money, because Bitcoin is the money the world has chosen. I'm not talking about selling your main stack. Have your main stack, put that in deep cold storage, and then live on the Bitcoin standard. Parallel explains exactly how to do that, why to do it, and how we are moving there at a rapid race. Now let's dive into the Australian budget. Then we are going to dive into the Rothschilds as well. If you can do us one favor and smash the like button, hit subscribe if we vibe, if you are new to the channel. Now, my apologies, sorry, I'm still blocked up. Get a little bit better. Sun and steak yesterday, and the most incredible drink that somebody told me about is the most gorgeous Beechworth honey that I bought down in Victoria. Put that in there and then just a couple of teaspoons of ginger and some cloves, brewed it up. They did say add green tea to it. I didn't do that because it was late at night. I wouldn't have slept. But beautiful drink. We'll be having another one shortly. Anyway, over to the Australian budget. Bit of a side note. Let's get it.
Here are some of the big winners and losers of Labor's economic blueprint. Families are set to benefit from a nearly $5 billion childcare boost over 4 years, locking in savings for more than 1 million families. There's also more money for the paid parental leave scheme, taking it to 6 months within 4 years. $1.7 billion will be spent on women's safety initiatives. $800 million will be invested in clean energy initiatives, including cuts to electric car taxes. And there is more money than initially expected for the Pacific in an attempt to counter China's growing influence in the region. Now, one of the biggest losers are workers, with real wage growth not expected now until 2024. The cost of the NDIS will expand to $52 billion within 4 years.
Wow. It's when the NDIS works and it's benefiting the people that need the NDIS, great, but it is like the black sheep in the Australian economy as well. It's absolutely blown out with the budget. Anyway, I won't hold this gentleman up. That's crazy.
And is on track to cost hundreds of billions of dollars by the end of the decade. Multinational companies are being put on notice.
Money, print and go, bro.
As are tax avoiders.
Oh, yeah, pay your taxes. If you're selling Bitcoin, actually pay your taxes. Don't escape it. We'll dive into a couple more things, but they're coming for you. Better option is just buy, stack and chill, and don't sell Bitcoin.
About $800 million will be given to a tax avoidance task force. And the government will find $4.6 billion in savings over 12 years by cutting several of the previous coalition government's promised water projects, including Queensland's Hell's Gate Dam.
Well done. It's it's a little bit interesting. We'll dive into the Bitcoin numbers. A couple of things that I just want to pull out of the budget for everyone in Australia and anyone interested. The government has increased the Medicare levy low-income threshold for single families and seniors and pensioners from the 1st July 23 to provide cost of living relief. The increase to the threshold ensures that low-income individuals continue to be exempt from paying the Medicare levy or pay reduced taxes, the levy rate. The government has legislated permanent tax rates for all 13.6 million Australian taxpayers. This is probably the most interesting, and I did like to see that the higher tax brackets are included in this as well. Most important takeaway, we are one of the highest tax countries in the world. Obviously, we showed you the 21 taxes they impose on us. It's not just income tax, but the 19% tax rate will be reduced to 16%. The 32.5% tax rate will be reduced to 30%. They are not changing the 37% tax rate, but from 120, they are increasing it to 135,000, which is really good news. And same with the 45% tax rate. It'd be nice if they abolished it. And 37 was the highest. Unfortunately, the 45% does hurt, but that has been increased by another 10 grand to 180, from 180 to 190,000. Small businesses aggregated annual turnover of less than 10 million. This is real good news. We'll continue to be able to immediately deduct the full cost of eligible assets costing less than 20k that a first user installed ready for use by June 25. Asset threshold applies on a per asset basis, which is absolutely fantastic. So small businesses can instantly write off multiple assets. The government will provide 187 million over 4 years to the ATO to strengthen its ability to detect, prevent and mitigate fraud against tax and superannuation systems. Huge advocate of Bitcoin self-managed super fund. Obviously, do the right things, make sure it is compliant and pay your taxes there. They are ramping this up with everything digital, everything on chain. Don't be that person. Obviously, Roger Ver just got indicted. 78.7 million for upgrades to information communication technology to enable the ATO to identify and block suspicious activities. This is how it breaks down. 83.5 mil for new compliance task force to recover lost revenue and intervene. 24.8 mil to improve the ATO's management and governance of its counter fraud activities. Last things are coming up just here. So, future made in Australia, making Australia a renewable energy superpower. Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, this renewable energy is a bit of a psyop. Australia, just go nuclear. We've got the capacity to do it. We're very uranium rich. We've got so much space. Put a bloody nuclear power reactor in the middle of Australia away from everyone in unused land. Why not? If you're worried, the technology's gotten really good anyway. They're going to keep producing this woke agenda. The government will provide an estimated 19.7 bill over 10 years from 24 to 25 to accelerate investment in their future made in Australia priorities. Industry, including renewable hydrogen, green metals, low carbon liquid fuels, refined and processing of critical minerals, and manufacturing of clean energy technologies, including solar and battery supply chains. Both solar and battery supply chains are some of the worst things that we can do to the environment, more so than digging up coal for energy production. It's really not good. We did see this week as well all these solar panels on one of the Australian football grounds, maybe. I'm not a sports person, my apologies. Somebody in the chat fact check me, but the whole roof with solar panels just went up in flames. I'm sure that's real good for the environment. Housing support as well, 423.1 million over 5 years. Now, I found this one pretty interesting here. This is for the provision of social housing and homelessness services by states and territories under a new national agreement on social housing and homelessness. They know homelessness is going to continue to rise. They're not slowing down the immigration policy. And, you know, I've never really been a proponent of border closures, but I think now I am. I think now would be a great idea to dramatically shut down or reduce the amounts of people that are coming in. Just put it on pause for a couple of years, allow the Australian economy to catch up. Obviously, they're not going to do that, so they're just going to print more money and build these 15-minute cities, kind of like China. It's interesting. As like this model, China put out this model, CBDCs, digital IDs, social security scores, credit scores, and then these 15-minute cities, and they're just packing people in. That sort of seems like where this is going, and they'll just print more money to be able to fund that. And, you know, in Melbourne, there's so many people in the street, so we've got a major problem here as well. It goes on and on and on. Feel free to read through it. If anything's outstanding over the next couple of days, we will bring it up. But jumping over to a lighter note, and then we will dive into the West's agenda, what's going on with the Rothschilds there buying all this Bitcoin. Blockade 8, let's just refresh and make sure this is right. It'll be blockade 843,000, and we shall see where we are on the block cog. 482. The exchange rate is 61,629 sats per USD. You've got a bit of a buy signal today. Smash that button. We've just got a new block confirming there. 1,623 satoshis. The market cap is $1.21 trillion and the block time is closing in. We can see it here in the middle of the screen, 9 minutes and 56 seconds. The hash rate is down a little bit, but it is absolutely massive. And the subsidy plus fees, it has been pretty small after the halving, which was absolutely ginormous. The fees 0.1257 Bitcoin, only 3.87%. And well worth doing some UTXO management. It is very cheap on chain at the minute. Let's see if we've moved this morning. We're going down even more, 61,580. Now, this is great. I know we've been sideways for a little while and people are starting to get impatient all over the place. We think we're going to get a breakout and then we get a dump. Go a little bit sideways, we think we're going to get a breakout and then we come back to where we are. This consolidation has been ranging tighter and tighter for the last month and even over the last 3 months. Well, the last 2 months, we have a bit of a pump up. It's come sideways and we are ready either for another leg up or another leg down. I am in favour majorly and we'll dive into it with all these banks FOMO and into Bitcoin for a massive leg up. And regardless of when Bitcoin starts moving, if you're not buying Bitcoin now because you're waiting for a cheaper price, when Bitcoin's at 100K, 200K, $500,000, I'm not saying when it will be there, just that it will be there, or $1 million. I'm not giving any time frame. You're going to be disappointed that you didn't buy it at 61,580. Please don't be that person. Maybe you just need a DCA all the way. That is the best way to do things. Now, Australia, the digital ID in the budget did receive $288 million in funding in the federal budget. Is set to be bolstered after a recent digital ID bill passed the Senate in March, intends to boost privacy and protect consumers with stronger mitigations for fraud and identity theft. Yeah, interesting. They're going to sell this and it's all going to be for humanity, the Australian population, and people aren't realising that their freedom is completely being eroded with this digital ID. This is the first step in the totalitarian footstep towards CBDC's social credit scores and these 15-minute cities. People are going to say, hey, conspiracy hat, tinfoil. We've got a video, you know, the biggest conspiracy, this cloud seeding's going on. But the WEF are laughing at us as well. So it's no longer a joke. This is a little bit sinister, but accompanying the bill, Minister for Finance and the Public Service, Katie Gallagher, has shared that the government-issued digital ID framework will receive $288.1 million additional funding over a 4-year period, over 11 times last year's $24.7 million. Majority of the funding will be allocated to the ATO, Australian Taxation Office, with $155.6 million being allocated over 2 years to strengthen and fuel the MyGov ID and the relationship. Now, a couple of things. To allow the service to continue operating and bolster the digital ID exchange that allows for cross-system transactions, maintain the system administrator functions, the federal budget will allocate $46 million to be rolled out over 2 years. Now, $35.2 million will go to finance to continue policy leadership and governance of the digital ID, while the Attorney General Department will receive $11 million to fund budget upgrades. According to Gallagher, the massive increase in funding comes as major data breaches continue to plague the country. Most recently, the Club New South Wales attack that led to the exposure of the ID and login details of Club New South Wales members. They did say as well, I'm afraid I didn't. Oh, here we go. At this stage, the digital ID system will be completely voluntary. At this stage, they bring it in slowly and then suddenly, and then you are trapped. Maybe get some Bitcoin in self-custody just in case. Just in case people like this keep springing up. Naval Harari, what he has to say in regards to Bitcoin. This is how you know that we're winning, absolutely winning. When people like this keep flooding Bitcoin on one hand, and then the largest banks and institutions in the world are buying it on the other hand. Pretty interesting, but 1 minute and 4 seconds of interesting dystopianism.
When I look at Bitcoin, As a historian, I don't like it because this is a money built on distrust. The central idea of Bitcoin is basically electronic gold, that we don't trust the banks, the governments, so we don't want to give them the ability to create as much money as they like, so we create this Bitcoin. It's a currency of distrust. I do think that the future belongs to electronic money, but what we've seen over the last centuries is that it's actually a good idea to give banks and governments the ability to create more and more money in order to build more trust.
Sorry, this guy is absolutely off his head. Over the last centuries, we've seen that it's been a great idea to allow the banks to be able to print endless amounts of money. This guy is absolute off his rocker.
Within society. So I'm not sure what money would look like in 20 years or 30 years, but I hope it will be a currency of greater trust and not a currency of distrust.
I think Bitcoin is the currency with the greatest amounts of trust that's ever existed because there's rules without rulers. You can verify that Bitcoin is doing the things that it is doing. It's just TikTok next block. We can see everything on chain. 100% trustworthy because you can verify everything. No idea what the central bankers are playing at with that. That's propaganda at its finest. Well done for that. Now, the digital ID in Australia, this all ties together. CBDCs is what he's talking about, digital currencies. Now, the digital ID is the step towards digital currencies here in Australia, has been listed on the Parliament's Order of Business program, will pass the House of Representatives today, officially becoming law. I didn't see a confirmation for it, but this was yesterday, so I think it's good as done. Freedom is gone for anyone not on the Bitcoin standard. Senator Alex Antic, this dude's pretty based, I think, for a poly. Anyway, today the Prime Minister's received a letter co-signed by a group of 14 cross-party federal parliamentarians requesting the government walk away from the proposed amendments to the International Health Regulation, the WHO Pandemic Treaty. Oh, let's hope. We can only hope. Let's pray. A meeting of the World Health Assembly will commence on the 27th of May 2024 to vote on these instruments, which, if passed, will transform the WHO from an advisory body to a supernatural health body. Absolutely sinister. Australia must oppose this power grab because, make no mistake, it is a massive power grab. Freedom, the lower and middle class being wiped out. They're absolutely being decimated. And Canada, we showed that video yesterday of Justin Trudeau, a couple of videos there. But Rational Aussie is chiming in on this, and I think this is pretty, use the word again, based tweet that sums it up pretty nicely. Canada is increasing the capital gains tax by reducing the discount earnings above 250K. Been a lot of outrage over this already. I'd like to point out something else. The Canadian government is directly responsible for inflation. So is every government that printed money during C-19. During the pandemic, like most countries, their central bank printed money to allow the government fiscally irresponsible actions. People like Trudeau benefited from this because the price of assets they own went to the moon. In the US, people like Nancy Pelosi benefited as well because she trades GameStop. We'll dive into GameStop as well. Roaring kitty, it's absolutely hilarious. In a spare time, and is approaching 250 mil in net worth. These politicians, they cause inflation in financial assets through their own fiscal recklessness. They also caused inflation in consumer goods by being so dense as to believe the economy could be switched on and off via lockdowns. The MMTers, the modern monetary theorists, still believe that. Oh, another thing we didn't say as well. When they just like a universal basic income, it's coming. Like, that is the worst thing for the lower and middle classes. People are going to hear free money and they're going to jump for it and they're going to take it, and they don't understand that there is nothing free in the world. Money can't just be printed out of thin air for it to have value, unlike what Novel Harari believes. Proof of work has to go into it for it to be able to keep its purchasing power. Obviously, that's why we're all huge advocates of Bitcoin. If you're not, please just read the books and you will be. It's your chance to add a better life, and it doesn't take very long. But they can pull all these levers. It's absolutely insanity. They haven't gotten it right since the creation of the Federal Reserve. They're not going to start to get it right, even though they're going to continue to try. Anyway, they are the reason everything is so expensive at the moment, and they benefited. Now they want to close the exit door so no one can benefit while continuing their money printing. The caveat is crucial to understand. They incurred no consequences for their actions personally. They are rewarded for them. They will keep money printing more and more, keep funneling into causes which help themselves rather than you, and they'll tax the living daylights out of anyone who tries to escape the inflation they cause, obviously increasing the capital gains tax in Canada from 50% to 66%. As well, we see Australia 21 taxes, maybe in homage to the 21 million Bitcoin on the fiat stand. You get 21 taxes. Today, the limit is 250K and 2/3 of earnings. But tomorrow, everything's going to be 250K anyway because of inflation. They'll want 100% because that's how the parasites operate. They're coming for everything you own. They want you filthy poor, so you're subservient to the state solution, which will be more control of your entire life. Now, let's hear what he has to say in regards to it. A little bit of a longer video, but I think well worth playing because this is what is happening in the world. And if we're not paying attention to these things, a lot of us, because they keep us so distracted, have such a short memory and we hear it and then we forget about it. I think to bring it up a couple of days, cement it in to know that this thing is happening. We can prepare. Now there is hope, there is freedom. It was just please, just buy, stack and chill. Make the most of this opportunity because it is a way for a better life and to escape this regime.
This is a tax policy change that impacts less than 1% of people, but look at how much attention it's getting. Some people don't think that the richest few should pay more in taxes. Well, I don't agree with that. At a time when the richest are only getting richer, I think it's fair to ask those people to pay a little more. You may have heard of the capital gains tax, or what some people call the capital gains tax advantage. Now, if you don't know what that is, you probably don't get that advantage. It's basically where you've made enough money and amassed enough wealth in assets that you end up getting a tax break. Here's what I mean. Everybody pays taxes on 100% of their salary. If a nurse is making $70,000 a year, or an investment banker has a salary of $800,000 a year, when it comes to paying income taxes, they're both paying taxes on all of that income. Now, that nurse may be living a good life, but she's probably not earning enough to be buying and selling assets like properties. But that investment banker, who's making $800,000 a year, probably is. He's putting some of his money...
They really pull on the heartstrings, don't they? And why have they made capitalism such a dirty word? The capitalists built everything, the roads, the schools, the houses, the planes, the trains, all our infrastructure, the water services, all the innovation, the technology. They want to disincentivize those people. When those people create stuff, they bring deflation into the system. This guy, with all the leaders around the world, at least in the Western countries, most of them, don't want deflation because they can't pay off their debt. There's another 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Sorry, I can't subject myself to that much propaganda. I did watch it in full. I will repost it at Sean Clark 911 for you. Basically, the message is they're coming for everything. And what Rational Aussie had to say is with inflation, once they bring these laws in, like the laws are here to stay, and everything's going to cost 250K. It's only a matter of time. Once it's there, and there's no going back. Something to be aware of, and maybe there's something outside of the system that may help. Shout out to everyone that is watching live. We'll jump into a bit of a banter shortly. Still got a little bit to get through today. The WEF, they're just totally laughing at us. It's absolutely insane, which is going on. Mr. Android summed it up pretty well with the PM there, the biggest clown of clownada, 100%. And these people, they just don't care for you and I, ladies and gentlemen. So stuff their system. I was born into it. I don't agree with it. I've chosen something better, and I hope you have too. Let us know in the chat whether you're watching live or the replay, whether you have found a better option and what that better option is. It's a 3-letter ticker symbol, in my opinion.
Do we have the capability to ensure that we don't see another pandemic, the like of which we saw while you were leading the World Health Organization?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is we're unprepared and we're still vulnerable to the same problem. But the good news is, based on the lessons learned, we're building something. For instance, we're trying to address the surveillance by building a collaborative intelligence and a mechanism to share pathogens so that can be used for research and development. And for countries who have potential, they're moving into production of the tools to address the equity problems. And there is a pandemic fund now created. The World Bank is running it, and WHO is part of the secretariat. And there are many other initiatives that have started. This is really important. But the key is, how can we have a binding pandemic agreement?
That word is incredibly dystopian. A binding pandemic agreement. They're saying it clear as daylight. They want total control. Let's hope Australia turns these people down. The EU did, which is, hats off to them, pretty surprising. But they've still got a hell of a lot of power.
That member states would respect. So if anything happens, first of all, the best is to prevent it, and that's why we're building capacity. But we need to have a binding agreement in order to prevent or to early detect and respond in a better way.
And that's what you're hoping for this year.
Exactly.
That's what you're hoping to see this year.
As we speak, member states are now negotiating.
Yes.
And I have been following the negotiation, and I'm hopeful that by May 2024 there will be a deal. And that will help us to prepare better and prevent the same thing with COVID like COVID.
Bring in more dystopian regimes, more lockdowns. I like what Trump had to say. Don't really agree with him, couldn't care less, but we will not comply. Not this time. What they did last time was absolute insanity. For anyone that's been in Bitcoin for a while, it seems, as you just get into Bitcoin, these two ideas would be so far apart and not related or correlated in the slightest. But the truth is, when you start to go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole in whatever way that is, and you align yourself with truth, which is Bitcoin's energy, money, like we were saying earlier, it's just rules without rulers. When you understand that Bitcoin is just being Bitcoin every 10 minutes, every 210,000 blocks, cuts in half, it's very fair. We start to go down the rabbit holes of, okay, now we've got this solid foundation with money. What else is corrupt in the world? And then we see things like the World Economic Forum absolutely laughing at us, literally laughing at us. It's absolutely insane. They are going to bring in these regimes, digital ID, CBDCs, lockdowns, 15-minute cities. I think we've got a video that we'll get into shortly with what they're doing to the weather as well. It's all linked. Croc, couldn't agree more. Absolute insanity. 100%. Bradley Dean. And then there's other places in the world that align themselves with Bitcoin. We sort of touched on this yesterday, but it's important. You understand El Salvador has a Bitcoin standard year. When do you begin to recommend the West follows suit? Exactly. Thank you. Bitcoin is honest weights and scales. Just in, El Salvador arrests bankers and administrators for money and asset laundering, defrauding the public and economy, cover up illegal groups, amongst others, when Wall Street. Because a reminder that the banks on Wall Street are the biggest institutions for money laundering, tax evasion, ripping individuals off personally. El Salvador, it's good many things right. I'm not in the country, I haven't been to the country, I don't know everything, but I think this is a pretty bloody good start. And I'd like to see it in a Western country, this Western country. And in the US, we are seeing huge. Let's come back to this because it's not 100% Bitcoin related, but I think some of you are going to find this absolutely fascinating. I did, at least. So we'll come back to that one. Oh, well, we've got some really interesting things here. Quick update, the Tornado Cash developer Alexei has been found guilty. He is sentenced to 64 months in prison for writing code and not stopping the code. First jailed in August 2022. Sentenced 64 months for money laundering. Tornado Cash does not pose any barrier for people with criminal assets who want to launder them, according to translated verdicts seen by CoinDesk. Was it Samurai? I did see had come out with a new CoinJoin feature as well, so check that out. Maybe give it a little bit of a while or reach out to the Bitcoin way if that is of interest. But I'm not saying launder funds in the slightest. I'm actively saying don't do that. All you want to do is just buy, stack, and chill. If you sell, pay your tax. And I say pay your tax because I actually urge you not to sell that Bitcoin. But Tornado Cash developer Alexei has been found guilty of money laundering by a Dutch judge at I'm not even going to... I'll try it. Hertogenbosch. Okay, that's so wrong. Court on Tuesday. Alexei has been given 64 months of prison time by the court. We read that one there, the last article here. The trial result could play in future trials of other Tornado Cash developers. Now they've set a precedent. Other developers of the crypto mixer, Roman Storm and Roman Semenov, also face allegations of money laundering sanctions violations in the US. Storm will go to trial this September, but Semenov has not yet been arrested. Storm was arrested last year after the US again added Tornado Cash to its sanctions watch list. We'll keep you updated as that progresses. Samson Mao believes Bitcoin is going to 1 million. We're going to have a $100,000 Omega candle. Just on that, remember today is a down day. Bitcoin will go up, it'll go down, it'll go sideways. We're going to have $10,000 days to the upside. We're going to have $10,000 days to the downside. And we're going to have times where it just goes sideways for an exorbitant amount of time. Whatever happens, up, down, or sideways, left or right, don't get shaken out. Just buy, stack, and chill. Make the most of it. The red days are the best days to buy. Green days are still absolutely fantastic as well. That's just a PSA for today. Another PSA, Samson Mao. So Ripple, who paid Greenpeace $5 million to FUD Bitcoin, is now actively spreading FUD about Tether to try to get traction on their own stablecoin. Not a surprise at all. Paolo does go in. He's from Tether, goes into it a little bit more, what it is. The funniest thing about that is Greenpeace wants to release their own digital currency. Now, I don't use Tether, but I'd much rather use, if it was one or the other, I choose Bitcoin. If it was one or the other, I would not be going with anything from Greenpeace. They used to be such a trusted institution. Then what happened? You know, even the founder left because Greenpeace was going in the wrong direction. That goes to say a lot. Anyway, Greenpeace is causing more nonsense. A little bit more from Australia. Australian man says Border Force made him hand over phone passcode by threatening to keep device indefinitely. Something to keep in mind. Remember, you can use a border pass for any reason needed travelling internationally. But just be aware that this is going on in this country. Great post by Alex Gladstein from the Human Rights Foundation. Now, the Rothschilds, absolutely massive smash. The like button if you know that the Rothschilds are one of the controlling elite in the world. They have been for a very long time. I think since the early 1800s. There's a couple of pieces in here that we're going to get into. I first went down the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs when I was like 14, 15 years old. Another good reason to be able to read the books because this story's been playing out for a long time. They're giants, financial giants, and they definitely are still pulling many puppet strings behind the scenes. Now, their bank has bought Bitcoin. The banking giant Edmund D. Rothschild is getting into Bitcoin. Traditional investment meets digital innovation. Edmund D. Rothschild, the storied bank, the prestigious Rothschild dynasty, announces its bold foray into the world of cryptocurrencies. with a substantial investment, I wouldn't say it's substantial, in Bitcoin via ETFs, but this event truly does mark a turning point for crypto as it now sees historical actors of the finance sector adopting this revolutionary technology. Bitcoin's only a revolution in self-custody. The ETFs, oh yeah, great. Exposure to number go up. Absolutely fantastic. It's not freedom technology though. Please just buy, stack and chill and put your Bitcoin into self-custody. Anyway, that aside, I think that's the most important takeaway always. This foray into the Bitcoin universe may be an entity as venerable as the Edmund D. Rothschild Group is not trivial. It sends a powerful message to the global financial market, demonstrating that even age-old institutions now see Bitcoin as an asset worthy of interest. The announcement has elicited various reactions with the financial community. Some are surprised this news has not caused a more significant increase in the price of Bitcoin. We're about to dive into it. Everyone that's been buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin's down on the day, it doesn't make any sense. But Bitcoin short-term never makes any sense. Nobody knows what it's going to do day to day. We can see the trend and what's the most likely possibility. But this catalyst is absolutely massive. This alongside every other catalyst that we're going to dive into in 2 secs. But 2019, the Rothschild family decided to privatize the Swiss bank, thereby strengthening its control and its ability to make rapid strategic decisions such as investing in Bitcoin. This strategic move underscores their visionary approach and desire to adopt the bank to the demands of the 21st century. They've only made a small Bitcoin purchase. I can only see this ramping up more and more from here. Dip their toes in, because all these institutions have been funding Bitcoin for the last 15 years. They can't do it suddenly, but they can do it slowly and then it'll seem suddenly. So it's pretty cool. Now let's dive into who else is buying Bitcoin. The Bank of Montreal we touched on yesterday disclosed spot Bitcoin ETFs. Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce has 7.2 million Bitcoin ETF exposure. The second Canadian bank today, Scotiabank, now has Bitcoin ETFs per SEC filings. Now the Big Five Canadian bank. They won't let you buy Bitcoin, but they will buy Bitcoin. Anyone in Canada, let us know if you can buy Bitcoin through any of these banks. I highly doubt it. Rules for thee, not for me. Hedge fund Bracebridge Capital reported owns 262 million of ARK's spot Bitcoin ETF and 81 million of BlackRock's. Absolutely insane. Switzerland's largest bank, UBS Group AG, disclosed Bitcoin ETF holdings in the new SEC filing. Bracebridge Capital, a Boston managing head farm, owns 433 mil of Bitcoin through ETF spread as follows. ARK 307, BlackRock 100 million, Grayscale 26 million. They are blowing up. Oh, here's another one. New York Stock Exchange listed insurance company Equitable Holdings has Bitcoin ETF exposure per the SEC filings with $930 billion assets under management. They acquired 1 million in GBTC. And Toronto Dominion Bank has Bitcoin ETF exposure per the SEC filings. Is that the same one as this one here? No. So what's that? 3, 4 Canadian banks? Bang, one after another. And the state of Wisconsin, well done for a pension system to be doing something right. Like the pension system in Australia, I don't believe it's going to be there. Super, I don't believe it's going to be there. These will get UBI and you're going to eat the bugs and you're going to be happy. You're going to own nothing and be happy. But for the state of Wisconsin, they report 164 million investments in the spot Bitcoin ETFs for the state pension fund. In a May 14 filing with the US SEC, the government entity responsible for managing Wisconsin state trust funds disclosed it held more than 2.4 million shares in the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust, more than 1 million shares GBDC, worth roughly 100 million and 64 million respectively. The filing suggested that the Wisconsin retirement system could have exposure to crypto investments throughout the two asset management firms. Really, really cool. Does the government just 6102 the state of Wisconsin? Maybe. I'd still be holding Bitcoin in self-custody. But for the people that are still asleep or that have bought so much into the propaganda that Bitcoin's no good, that it's not freedom technology, maybe this may give them a little bit of hope. The greatest thing here is you cannot change Bitcoin. We're seeing Fred Krueger on X wanting to change Bitcoin, increase the block size. Not going to happen. We've already gone through that debate. The point is you cannot change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you, and this is happening everywhere. Like the largest banks in the world, the largest governments in the world. It's happening. The richest, most powerful individuals in the world, the Rothschilds, everyone is buying Bitcoin. The price today, it's down 61, down. It's still at 61,715. This thing is so expensive. If you can get to one Bitcoin, I urge you to. But even if you can't, just get as much as you possibly can and then just keep buying it. Or maybe an easier way to see it is just tithe 10%. In the Bible and many religious texts, it says to tithe 10% to the church. A lot of that's failing, and I still urge you to do that. But if you're not a churchgoer, tithe that 10% to the piggy banker Satoshi and save. And then as that increases over time, you can really do some really great things in the world. It's really not hard. A little bit of fiat money to someone that's living rough can really change their day. Bitcoin supercharges that. So I'd strongly urge people just to save in Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin, whatever it is, do it. If you want to support the show, this is a way big side note, but help send the signal. Wear Bitcoin merch, whether it's mine or somebody else's. Sends that signal. There's the stealth collection if you want to go in stealth, but build back better. Buy Stack and Chill, stack sats, read the books or eat the bugs. Humble is my favorite shirt there, and we've got a couple more designs coming. There is the women's side of things there as well. So link in the top of the description if you are interested, thebitcoinlab.io. Now, Roaring Kitty, this is not related to Bitcoin. We've got 2 more Bitcoin things to jump into before we jump into the live chat. If you haven't already, smash the like button, caress the like button, just tap it gently, whatever it is. But if you can push it for us, whether it's on YouTube or X, greatly appreciated. Hit subscribe if we do vibe. But Roaring Kitty may have started the last bull run in a way, at least with... I'm sure we've gone long enough in this video for years to put up with one. We had profanity at the start. So Roaring Kitty started the shitcoin casino rally last time, that meme frenzy, the Kaka coins. And he's back. The reason I bring it up is what happened is they halted trading multiple times because it just started pumping. They're looking after their friends, the bankers, the investment giants that had, I think, $1 billion in shorts got stomped out, and before it got too bad, they wanted to stop it so they could cover their calls there and not allow it to get too high. But it's happening back, this fight against Wall Street. Instead of being a degenerate and gambling, like you can opt out peacefully with Bitcoin and enjoy a better life. But this is a big FU to the system. Obviously, I don't agree with crypto, but I still think it's pretty funny. On Tuesday, shares of GameStop and AMC Entertainment Holdings continue to extort, fueled by retail investors following the reappearance of Keith Gill's online persona, Roaring Kitty. The upward momentum also spilled over. To give credit where credit is due, the ads, the videos that Keith is putting out on Roaring Kitties can apply to Bitcoin, and people are going to steal them and put the Bitcoin logo over them because they are so well done. They're so well produced. Check them out just for the entertainment value, because this is all entertainment. This altcoin casino garbage, gambling. Anyway, I'm here for sound money, not to gamble. I don't go to the casino. I've put $20 in the pokies and I pulled out $1, I think, and that was the end of my gambling career. This upward momentum also spilled over into the cryptocurrency market, with meme coins like Roaring Kitty jumping 175 and Wall Street bets rising 1,121% against the US dollar. Following Monday's frenzy, US former SEC chairman, this is the best bit, and this is why I brought this article up, expressed his disapproval. It bothers me, Clayton emphasised to CNBC. It bothers me on many levels. It's a lot closer to gambling than trading, is certainly not investing, Clayton questioned. Is a tweet really investment advice? We've learned over the last 5 years that a tweet is not investment advice. The whole stock market, everything's propped up by money printing and these arbitrary rules that they change. So it's all gambling. Anyway, the only sound choice that you can make with your money, in my humble opinion, is to buy Bitcoin. It's not even investing. It's just opting in to better money, the people's money. It's money the world has chosen. So I sort of agree, but I laugh that it bothers him because it's... The world economy is 100% a gamble at the minute. Anyway, you can see that it has pumped up a fair bit, 204% in the past 5 days. I have no idea what's going on with that. It's just a blank X, but I'm going to check that out because Samson Mail's always dropping insightful stuff. Now, let's just see what this last... Before we jump into the cloud scene, Ben Justman will be coming on Friday. It'll be Thursday in the States for everyone. Ben is super cool. Really intrigued, really interested to just sit down and have a chat with him. We will touch on the news as well and what's going on. But to dive into someone that is living on the Bitcoin parallel economy, not 100% full-time, still accepts fiat, but making the best wine, some of the best wine in the world, arguably, on a Bitcoin stand, absolutely incredible. The proof of work of this guy, you see, he's just a legend. He's just a good bloke. I cannot wait to have a chat and meet this guy online. What a guy. Anyway, that's coming up for you. Before we jump into the comment sections, this is propaganda at its finest. I've been looking up at the sky and noticed the lines in the sky since I was really young. Everyone said, had a tinfoil hat, crazy, they're not cloud seeding, they're not spraying chemicals in the air. And made me feel I always knew something was off. And everyone said I was wrong and I knew I wasn't wrong. And then they labelled me tinfoil hat, conspiracy, you're absolutely crazy. If crazy is being right, I'd happily be weird or crazy. Like, absolutely embrace it, because what they're doing is so sinister. And it only takes a couple of people, a couple of remnants out there to be able to wake up and push back. And this quote that I shared yesterday of Alex Svetsky, it's better, and this is a quote that he quoted, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. 100% agree. It's better to be able to have the option to be able to protect your property, your relationships, your family, your personal sovereign being with force if need be. But if you put yourself in that position, most likely you won't need to use it, because the pen is mightier than the sword. Sometimes it does come down to the sword. To get into a place where you're willing to die on this hill, it's good. It's liberating. And then when the truth finally comes out all these years later that they are cloud seeding, they've been doing it for a very long time and this is verifiable, it's peaceful. I appreciate it. So I'd like to share this. Some of you may find it interesting. Some of you may not. Then we'll dive into the chat with all the legends. So if you're being a lurker, drop a question or just say g'day in the chat. Don't be a weirdo. Actually, be a weirdo. It's being weird. The etymology means spiritual in nature. Anyway, without further ado, climate change, cloud seeding, and let's play.
The cloud seeding is booming. They anticipate at least another 200 ground cloud seeding machines to be put in before next season.
Ginger, this is such a cool concept, but is it too good to be true? I mean, how do we know that the chemicals that they're spraying from the air aren't bad for us or the planet?
The good news is we've been doing this since the 1940s and 50s. Other countries do it, and there have been a lot of research projects that have shown that the silver iodide, for example, is not found. It's negligible once it gets down to ground level.
So, again, I don't want to be too skeptical, but is there anything wrong with manipulating nature like this?
I think that's the question we should have asked when we built every single parking lot and every rooftop. We have been manipulating weather with our us for a very long time. I do think that looking at and continuing research on when these programs get bigger, if it will affect people downstream, that needs to be watched.
At least.
Yeah, let's not block out the sky. Like, let's stop this. And it's not even like they're going to start doing it. Yesterday we showed the video of Evil Bill. Oh man, just evil Bill. Everything that comes out of Bill's mouth is evil. Probably good news for Melinda Gates. She has left the Gates Foundation's taken a whole lot of cash to do something different, to disassociate herself with one of the most evil people in the whole world. He's behind cloud seed and all the vaccines, all the control, the systems that are coming into place. And as we just saw, they're not a conspiracy, verifiable proof. And we've known for a long time that this is fact. However, they've been playing us like a fiddle for so long, but people have woken up. So well done to you for getting that information out there and getting the truth out there, and the media can no longer hide it. So they need to ramp up their programming, their propaganda campaigns. Anyway, that is the news with the fast facts. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I've smashed the like button. But this is the comment section. I wish I could scroll through them on screen here, but I simply cannot do that. If you're being a lurker in the chat, say g'day. You don't need to be normal like every other normie on X, Twitter, YouTube. Not participating. Say something silly. I'll read it out, whatever it is. The floor is yours. Anyway, Summon Judge, good morning, Sean. G'day, Summons. Jim T, greetings from PA. Simon Picala, good day, boss. Good to see you, brother. Johnny Midas, greetings, Sean. Do something, do anything. Welcome back, fans. Hit the like button. Sorry, my throat. Well, Joe, that explains it. Absolutely. Kamala Harris is in charge. The president of the US states is not in charge of the country. Like, WTF, mate. What is going on with that? And even Kamala Harris, like, who's her puppet master? Truly, like, none of these people that show their face are the people that actually hold the power. 61,690. Get caught up on the 69,369. Tesla's numbers of the universe. Anyway, nobody's in charge that says they're in charge. It's the people behind the scenes, but I'm sure anyone in Bitcoin that's hung around for an hour is already aware. So let's carry on. Gemini must have gotten the questions from Commonwealth Bank. Absolutely agree. My apologies. More sun and steak is much needed today. OKX Exchange open to Australia. Good morning, champ. Good to see you, Ray. Average Geo. G'day, legends. Elaine. G'day, Sean and chat. Good to see you, Elaine. Crypto Creeper. The borders need to be closed for all immigrants. In Australia, we don't really have a problem with illegal immigrants. It's like, we're so far, we're so isolated, it's pretty hard to get in a boat, whether a speedboat or rowboat, whatever it is. So they're all legal, but the amount of people, like 150,000 people a month, that's not on. Like, that needs to be cut. People should only be allowed in if they do it legally. That's what generally I agree with, but at the moment I think we just need to close it. We just need to stop it, or we need to slow it down rapidly. Like 150,000 people in an entire year would be more than enough. Like our capital cities, our infrastructure is not keeping up. Like, there's so many people, and there's mainly Australians that I saw in Melbourne, suffering from addiction and homelessness, and it's all due to the system, the fiat system, the money being broken. So, I've got no say in these things, but, if anyone does that's watching, just put a pause on it, please, just for a little while. It'd be great. Australia's a beautiful country to live. I'm happy to open this up for whoever, but just slow it down. Be great. We've been watching the price too closely, at least I know I have, can't help it. I understand, like, it's fascinating, especially when it goes up. it's hard not to look at the price, but like over the last 2 weeks, I think I looked at the price like three, 4 times, and it was nice because Bitcoin's just going to do what Bitcoin does, and checking it like multiple times a day, it's not real healthy. It's not good because Bitcoin's a long-term game, and like one Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. That doesn't change. The fiat dollars may change, but over time, Bitcoin's number go up to the right. So we don't really need to get carried away with it all too much, but it's still fascinating. But maybe another PSA. Give the screens a little bit of a break. Bitcoin's going to do what Bitcoin does. You've got fiat, convert it, enjoy it. And, Gemini may ask you a couple of questions, what you're doing. Let them know, taking it off. Self-custody. I yesterday moved. Yeah, so this is why I've got my thing here. It will be taken off the property today, my cold wallet. That's why I have it here on my premise today. Yesterday, I got a whole lot of Bitcoin and moved a little bit into a wallet, went through straight away, went to move a substantial amount, and they're like, this is subject to review. I'm like, great. Jump into the chat. Hey, can you give me a call? Let's get this through. And I said I was just doing like this, and then I want to move like a huge chunk. It is the biggest chunk that I've moved all at once. And they said, oh, we're going to have to call you again. I'm like, I'm literally on the phone. Like, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. They're like, okay, like, we'll see if we can do it. Spent 10 minutes on the phone, and eventually they said, all right, like, your next transaction will go through, and then the one after that will go through, and then they'll put holds on place, and they're like, where is this going? What are you doing with it? And it's going into cold storage. They're like, why is the addresses different? Because it creates a new address each time. And they're pretty good about it, but it was a process, and they did ask those same questions as well. These questions, I think, are going to get harder and harder, and to take it into self-custody, depending on which country you are and what's going on at the time, that current environment may be pretty hard. So if it's on the exchange, please get it off. Like, just buy it and then send it straight away, or like, it depends how much you're buying. If you're buying $5 or $10 a day and the fees are pretty high, maybe wait. But as quick as you can, that makes economic sense. Please get it off as quick as possible, because if these on-ramp, off-ramps start shutting down, or they make it harder and harder, like the capital controls, $10,000 a month here in Australia, the Commonwealth Bank, some other banks as well, you've got this opportunity, and they may put limits on how much you can send to cold storage, or they may stop it totally for a little while. Who knows? That's not a fact. It's just a potential possibility, and I'd rather everyone here was prepared for that, in case that is the case. Because while Bitcoin's peaceful and there's no munitions involved, and Bitcoin mining's allowing renewable energy to be better, helping the power grids and causing deflation in an inflation world, they're still going to attack it. They're going to come after it as much as possible. I expect it, and I hope you do too. But Bitcoin's a force for good, so eventually they'll wake up to the fact, or enough people will get to that tipping point, and we're good with Bitcoin. If you're just tuning in now and you haven't already, rewatch the video. I'd strongly suggest it's just a bit of a banter at the end. We've got a couple of things to just chill with, but hit subscribe, hit the like. But Bitcoin's this. It's not just hope. Like, it's a little bit more than hope. It's just fair. It's how money should be. Like, Bitcoin, whoever Satoshi was, whether they created Bitcoin or they discovered Bitcoin, like gravity almost. The law of gravity was like discovering Bitcoin, discovering the law of Bitcoin, sound money. They looked at everything that was wrong with a fiat currency, and they engineered the best form of money to ever exist in the entirety of the planet and human history and civilization's history. It's only 15 years old. There's going to be, what would be the right terminology? it'll be baby steps, and like a baby, it'll fall, like the price will fall and it'll get back up and it'll become stronger and the network will build out and it'll grow and then it'll go into its teenage years where we are now, where it's still a little bit dorky, a little bit strange. And the thing is, with teenagers, they turn into adults, and those adults, those teenagers, if they're building a solid foundation like Bitcoin is with the world's monetary networks, building out a parallel economy, a system that'll just work for people when they need it. As it morphs into an adult, it's going to be the responsible adult in the room. So it's pretty exciting. Short term, they're going to keep doing what they're going to do, but long term, I don't think there's any other option apart from Bitcoin winning, as Jeff Booth says, as long as it stays decentralized and secure. So I read it before, I'll read it again. Justin Trudeau, the biggest clown, a clownada. G'day, everyone. Hey, brother Sean. Good to see you, Krog. Good to see you, Crypto Creeper. I think he's putting pictures of bugs there because he is reading the books. He will not be eating the bugs. G'day, superheroes. What a fantastic grade. And everyone out here watching is a superhero. All kings and queens, legends. You're the warrior class of freedom. Like, you're, by opting out of the fiat system, that slave system, you're choosing a better life for yourself, your offspring, your friends, your family, even if they don't adopt Bitcoin now. Because when they come to you, they've got somebody to talk to, somebody to guide them. It's like you'll be their friend. But it's a little bit higher than that. Like, you'll be their guide to freedom technology. I think that's pretty empowering. Each and every one of you here is a superhero. Shout out to Holden Wood. SCEPISL. I do not know how to pronounce Cespil. I'm not sure. My apologies. I understand I butchered that. G'day from Palm Springs, California. G'day, Luna. If you come back to join the show today, Chester never hangs around. Giant Ash Show. G'day from Oregon. Crypto Creeper. Now, Oregon's an interesting place. It looks like there's a lot of homelessness and addiction there. Didn't they make everything legal and it just went to down the gutter? I think the same thing happened in Canada as well. Like, they're all saying, I don't know, when they made all these narcotics illegal, it just sort of seems like everything went down the drain, obviously along with money printing as well. We shouldn't criminalize it, but just being able to buy things like H and stuff over the counter for everyone. Like, I don't know. In Australia, we don't have that. You can't even buy weed. It's not legal here. But if people want to smoke it, they can go out of the way. But we don't have a massive problem, nor is weed a massive problem. But the other stuff that destroy the brain cells and your body, like for that over the counter, I don't know. Maybe it was better when people could work a little harder for it and it wasn't just everywhere. Anyway, maybe I'm a little bit off kilter with that. Croc XRP has the most toxic cult following, I swear. 100% I agree. They're the most delusional people within Bitcoin, within crypto. They're not in Bitcoin. They're like the furthest thing. XRP is the foundation layer for CBDCs. It's not even Fiat 2.0. It's like slave system number one. It's the biggest psyop out there out of all of it. Green Candle, good to see you. G'day. I wonder if people will be able to purchase crypto assets in general and UBI CBDC. I do not know, and I think their agenda would be for it not to, but we don't know. So what we do know is we can buy it now. There's opportunities here. It's been here for the last 15 years. Maybe it's going to be here for another 100 years. Maybe there's just I think Bitcoin's going to be around forever, but there's going to be this time maybe where it may be pretty difficult to be able to buy it, and then you can only earn it. So it's worth looking into. Now, they'll probably block the ability to purchase assets, crypto with UBI money, is my guess. Croc 100% agree there. G'day from Flyover USA. Good to see you. Jake, you know what they say about conspiracy theories? Give it 2 weeks. Sean is the canary of truth. chirp on. Got to go. Great show again, Elaine. Thank you very much. We are getting towards the end. I tell you what, when I was in the military and we had to load the chaff into the airplanes, you need to be fully suited up in a level 3 hazmat suit. Let that sink in. That's insane, Croc. Absolutely insane. Blick, Stephen, the hairdresser. If you need a hairdresser and you're in Melbourne, shout out to Blick. We dropped a video the other day. Well worth watching. It was so fun. It was the most interesting podcast. Couple of technical issues as well with the Troubling podcast. But Stephen, it was such a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Anyone in Melbourne want to get a haircut and pay in Bitcoin, use the Bitcoin parallel economy. Reach out to Blick Hairdressing. Which exchange, Sean? Pass, rather not say for that purchase for a specific reason. The reason why I don't talk about which exchange I use is because I never know with, and it's a hard one with the Bitcoin only exchanges, how much liquidity. They don't, in general, have as much liquidity as the altcoin casinos, but I use the Bitcoin only exchange. But I've recommended some in the past, I've brought up some in the past, and then they potentially have issues, and it's not really an issue if you're just buying and then taking it straight off the exchange. But I understand that people aren't following best practices all the time. So wherever you can buy Bitcoin the cheapest, really, just buy and then send it off the exchange. If anyone in the exchange in the chat wants to drop like a couple of names of exchanges for the community, do it. But Bitcoin only is my preference. But really, however you buy Bitcoin, the cheapest, obviously better to support Bitcoin only. But don't leave Bitcoins on exchange. And it's the reason I'm hesitant to be able to share what I use, because I have shared one in the past and there's rumors that they're having liquidity issues. And that's scary. That's not good for anyone. The chaff comment was in relation to the... yeah, I know, the chemtrail segment, same ingredients. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely wild. Ladies and gentlemen, so many people are just jumping on live. Go back, hit the replay, hit subscribe if we vibe. We will see you tomorrow. I'm actually going to get a little bit of rest. I know yesterday I said I'd be going live at 5:35. Been burning the candle at both ends for far too long. So I'll be going live at 8:30 each day. Mark it down for 8:30 on Friday. It will be 8:30 with Ben Justman. I'm not sure what today is. So tomorrow I'll do 8 or 8:30, and then it'll definitely be 8:30 on Friday. There, I just need to just slow down a little bit, get a little bit more sleep as well. And I'm sure my wife is great for a bit of sleep. And I like getting up before sunrise, going live, and then going down to the beach. But late nights, early mornings for far too long don't do real well. It was a success. It was well worth it. The grind allowed us to stack a whole lot more. But yeah, I miss it, my routine. Anyway, we'll be back. There's a bit of a side note. And anyway, you're all incredible. Do something nice for yourself. Buy, stack, chill. Do something nice for someone else. Have a beautiful day. Be blessed. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.